Okay, what you see right here behind me, right there, is a representation of a dragonfly. Now, the dragonfly that you see here is 17 feet in length and 1 foot in diameter, and it weighs 175 pounds. Obviously, all the dragonflies you see are no bigger than that. However, in the pre-flood, before the Noahic flood, the world was different. The oxygen content was higher. Dragonflies had wingspans up to 46 inches. They found them imprints in stone, and it's totally, for all intents and purposes, it's exact same. It's just much bigger. Now, insects breathe through their skin through things called spirocatches. So they have a very inefficient, well, it's efficient because they don't get big. They're not made to get big. Now, in the pre-Adamic world, or excuse me, the pre-flood world, it's pretty much been established that the oxygen level was much higher. You can tell oxygen levels in rocks were higher. Things were of magnum proportions. And the reason you know for sure the oxygen level was higher is because the insects were bigger. So they have a bellow system, but it's not like our lungs breathing in. They have these air sacs that are just right underneath the skin. They can't deliver the air very good. And it'll run the length of it. Like on an ant, they've got about 55 on each side, even no matter how big the ant gets. And the bellows act to push the air in back and forth. I'd like to bring up a story. So, if you were somebody that was living before the flood, you were basically living in an oxygen-rich environment that would come close to a chamber that you ever seen when somebody gets the bends from rising up too fast, they put them in a chamber, and then they raise and lower the pressure to make it so that they don't get the bends as the nitrogen leaks out of their system. I'm going to bring up a story from a long time ago. So there was this little girl in Texas that fell down a pipe, and she was actually kind of doing the splits when she fell down. It made nationwide news. You can look it up. Only when they pulled her out, she was stuck down there for days until they figured out how to get her out of this pipe. And her leg was all black, and they thought they were going to have to cut off her leg. And somebody said, no, let's put her in a barometric chamber and increase the oxygen to 2 levels and see if we can save the leg. Well, they not only did they save the little girl's leg, they saved all of her toes except one. One had to be amputated. Michael Jackson famously used to sleep in one of those, and if you sleep in them, you can buy a sleeping bag version for about $2,000, but they'll juice you up. And a lot of the NFL athletes do oxygen therapy, which is basically what that is. But anyway, the giant dragonfly is proof that the oxygen and the giant insects of yore were basic proof that the oxygen levels were higher. I mean, they can see it in the rocks too. That the level was higher, and all the magnum-sized proportion animals. I mean, if you were to look at the giant sauropods, some of them's nasal passages are only like this big, hardly bigger than a regular horse. So, if you were to increase the atmospheric pressure by a bit and up the oxygen content, there would be no problem with a giant sauropod. But there would be right now. They would be so lethargic they'd just be falling all over themselves. Anyway, check out the works of Ken Ham, Kent Hovind, and Mike Brown, and I've got more on timbosplace.com. Thank you. I'm out.